Why we get such a kick out of this
Hey, you guys,
Yeah, the wire is dangerous.
Yes, it is. Pull it over there, son.
I didn't know this, but the information you requested is on PubMed. Okay, I just get it's PubMed.gov. Where's your bowl game?
In Dallas.
Oh, that's a great stadium.
Cotton Bowl. Yeah, I was there for the national championship game a couple years ago, and
What? Who are you guys playing?
USC.
Oh, is that guy going to Nebraska?
The UCF guy is.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we used to do USC.
We're playing USC.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. You guys ready?
We're recording?
We are recording.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you all so much for coming here. This is our sort of annual health and wellness seminar. And we've got a lot of things going on today. If you're watching live, we welcome you. If you're watching the replay later on, thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. I hope you're expecting a wild ride. We've got a lot of information and a lot of presenters going on. You've been given some paper as you came in to write down questions as they arise when you're hearing the presenters speak and talk about the different products and aspects. Write down those questions. We'll be collecting them a little bit later in our presentation to go over them. We're not going to really be doing Q&A in each particular segment, okay? And one more big thing, these statements that are being shared have not been reviewed by the FDA. It's our official disclaimer here. The information being shared is based on the individual presenter's knowledge and research, and this seminar and these products that are discussed here tonight are not intended to treat, prevent, cure, or mitigate any diseases. And with that being said, I'd like to welcome our first presenter. I told you we're jumping right in. Buckle up those seatbelts. Dr. Barbara Borland. She's a retired physician, radiologist, specialized in breast cancer detection, graduate from Duke University, and she's an amazing person. Welcome, Dr. Barbara. Yay, Dr. Barbara. No, right there.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming, and all you guys online. Thanks for listening in. And do I run my own?
Yes, you do. You have it right there.
Okay. Well, welcome, everyone. Let's see if I can make this work.
You need help?
Okay, so we're going to start out with a little bit of a challenge question, and I want you to ask yourself, how do you measure the current state of your health? Really, what's the measurement you use?
How you feel?
Do you use the measurement of whether you have a disease, the absence or presence of a disease? Do you wonder if, do you think about your health as it relates to how you felt maybe yesterday? Well, I woke up feeling a little bit better today, so I'm in better health. Or do you look at your neighbor and say, well, at least I'm better than her? Is that how you do it? Well, I want to encourage you to spend time tonight just thinking about what you can do personally for your health. This is what this is all about. And then as soon as you start thinking about your health, then it's time for you to also think about all those people in your life that you love so much and care about their health. Let's get down to really talking about what true health is. And I have a definition of true health that I really love. I'm going to make sure I read it correctly because I think it's so great. True health, which is really should be termed wellness, the state of wellness, it occurs when our bodies are functioning at full capacity according to design. That makes sense?
Yes.
Full capacity according to design. So what does that really feel like? So I kind of knew how I felt, but I said, well, let me do a poll. And of course I went to Facebook, right? Went to Facebook and I asked I have, a lot of friends and acquaintances. I asked them, so what is true health to you? Let me read off what my friends said. I thought it was great. Waking up refreshed, moving without stiffness or pain, being alert and focused all day, having a clear and radiant complexion, having flexibility, having a mindset, I love this one, a mindset of optimism, gratitude and confidence, having a deep well of energy that propels you forward with your daily schedule. Pretty awesome, huh? How many of us feel that? Well, it is time for us to stop defining our current state of health based on how we felt maybe last month or last year. How about going back to when you were a kid? It was summer break. You jumped out of bed, you went outside, and you enjoyed your day from sunrise to sunset with no barriers whatsoever. That's true health. There's nothing wrong with dreaming of that again if we call for you to do that. So there's a trend out there, and it's the fact that there are many people in our community and throughout the world that are taking a step to return to true health and to protect that position that they're in. These people are what we call the health activated individual. Who are they? What defines them? Well, they care about the fact that they do not want to be to have their symptoms masked with pharmaceuticals. They want real health. They want to know the root cause of why they don't feel as good as they want to, and so that they can address that and return to a true state of health. They are seeking a change in the healthcare delivery system. They're demanding personalized care. They want testing done of their genome. They want to know what their micronutrient status is. They want to know what their gut biome looks like. And they want to know what their hormone balance is. And they want doctors and health practitioners to help them get that back into order. But guess what? They are not waiting. They are not waiting for the health system to catch up. They are taking matters into their own hand. They are becoming their best advocate, and they're doing their own research. They have become what we call biohackers. So what is biohacking? It's the art and science of becoming the best version of you, taking control of your personal biology to get the outcome that you desire. And we have a lot of ways of doing that on a daily basis. It is all about making intentional choices. Here are some of the options that you have for controlling your health. We're not going to talk about all these tonight. We're just going to talk about a few of them. But let's just review. You can make an intentional decision about your mindset, your mood, how much rest you get, what your exposure to environmental toxins are, making sure that you have a good daily movement of exercise and motion. And then there's the whole aspect of nutrition and genetics. And you go, hey, wait, all those others, I can make choices about that. But how do I make a choice in my genetics? What's that all about? Well, we have exciting news because that's what we are here to talk about. And it's old school thought to think that food is just for fuel. And it's old school thought to think that your DNA is your destiny. You've heard that, right? I was born with it. All my family gets diabetes. I guess I'm going to get it too. No, that is totally changed now. The future is now. We now know that what you put into your body has a very distinct impact on so much of your health. We know that food provides you with micronutrients. It is critical in the regulation of gut health. You're going to hear about that tonight. It's very important in controlling your daily detoxification, a critical aspect of your health, and for maintaining that balance, that homeostasis between all of the different systems in your body. And what we're really excited to talk about tonight is that food is essential in gene regulation. And that's why you can make an intentional choice on a daily basis to help your gene expression. How does that work? It's just a communication system. We're not going to get real scientific on you tonight, but just understand that your DNA is not sitting there running the show. Your DNA is responding to your environment, and your body environment, responding to what it is going into your body. If you take that kind of looks like a little yellow pill there. Well, it's not. It's a representation of food, but whatever you eat will have a direct impact on your DNA. And that's a pretty exciting thing, because that means we can take control over a great deal of how our genes are working for us rather than against us. LifeVantage, the company that we represent, LifeVantage, is at the forefront of an exciting science called nutrigenomics, which takes nutrition and natural substances and teaches us how they affect our genes. LifeVantage is at the forefront of this. We are harnessing the power of modifying how your genes are expressed. It's a whole new concept in supplements. The concept is something called nutraceuticals. Natural substances combined together to create something bigger than just what they are by themselves. And you're going to hear a lot about that tonight. So just to give you one glimpse at how one of our products is doing that, let me give you a very quick, brief overview of that. Protandim is one of the great products that LifeVantage has. You're going to hear wonderful things from Dr. Chad Luxembourg about that. But this is one of the most interesting studies. Now, don't look at this as a confirmation that anything that we have, Protandim in particular, treats any disease. But if you see what Protandim was proven to do to the human genome, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. This was a cell study, not a human study, so don't jump to conclusions about anything, but listen to what they proved that taking Protandim, which we'll hear about in just a minute, did to the expression of the human genes. They looked at the genes associated with heart disease. They found out that almost every single gene that is associated with the development of atherosclerosis was properly regulated when in the presence of Protandim. You take colon cancer, 25 out of the 28 genes associated with colon cancer were correctly regulated in a manner that took it away towards health rather than disease. And Alzheimer's was another one that they looked at. Same impact. No, this doesn't mean that Protandim cures Alzheimer's, but think of the possibility of taking something that can have a direct impact on how your genes are expressed. Very exciting. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about how LifeVantage is giving you the opportunity to biohack your genetic potential. And we're going to hear from Dr. in just a second. We're going to hear about how one of our products affects cellular repair, very exciting, and another one affects energy production. And with that, I hope I've given you a little excitement about why you want to listen to all of this great information. Keep your notes out. Write down everything you hear from these great health practitioners who have so much to tell you, and I look forward to listening to it myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, our next presenter is Dr. Chad Luxembourg. He's been an eye physician and surgeon for over 35 years in private practice. And as he comes up, we have a little treat.
Okay.
Good job.
One small step for man, one giant leap forward for mankind. Okay, I am going to talk about something that is overwhelmingly important that very few people know about. I always compare the fact that NRF2 pathway was found in 1999 to the investigation that developed penicillin. Because penicillin was the first antibiotic, and when it was found by Fleming, and he noticed that the bread mold was killing the bacteria because a sandwich was left too close to a petri dish, and it was killing a staph petri dish, a culture, that was overwhelming for mankind, because when you think about human history, disease has been a scourge of mankind, and you couldn't really get to the level we are at now unless people had a longer life expectancy and the ability to prevent plagues. And you know, the Black Death killed half of Europe in the Middle Ages. So I think personally that the discovery of some of these nutrigenomic pathways is as big a deal as the discovery of penicillin. And that is my premise. Now, I want to try to explain NRF1 and NRF2 in a way that even someone who graduated from Ohio State University. So I'm going to really dumb it down so we can all figure it out. So think about the cell like a factory, all right? Very, very important. What does a factory need? Energy and raw materials, okay? Energy and raw materials go in, and there are products or things that are produced, and then there's waste material. Now, what happens in a factory that has a poor waste management system? Has anybody ever heard of Love Canal in Buffalo? All the people dying of cancer because they dumped the waste in a canal and they didn't have a waste management facility. So think about your cell if it didn't have a good waste management system. And you'll notice that you'll have dysfunction, disease, and cell death. Now, the NRF2 pathway is a pathway that is designed so that you can get rid of the waste that is produced by manufacture of products and the production of energy. What are those waste materials? They're called free radicals, not the kind that are in a lot of college campuses. These are in cells.
University of Florida.
Okay, so forget me. I thought I was going to say. Anyway, what you need to know is that you have a great system called the NRF2 pathway that works really well when you're young, and it makes the body make antioxidants to fight the free radicals that are produced by oxidative metabolism. We have most of our energy in the body, maybe 99%, comes from oxidative metabolism. But if we don't have a way of managing the waste that's produced by that, then we get into trouble. We have damage from these free radicals. It damages the DNA in the cell nucleus. It damages the DNA in the mitochondria, which is the furnace of the cell. And it also can lead to mutations, cancer, and many, many diseases. So as we get older, it doesn't work as well. And when it doesn't work as well, you deal with an imbalance. And the imbalance between production of antioxidants in the cell and how much free radicals there are is what is now thought to be the process of aging. So if you want to do something about damage to the cell and have it tuning up and tooling along the way you had it when you were a healthy 20-year-old, you need to manage the free radical production with proper production of antioxidants. And that's what the NRF2 pathway does. Think of a thermostat. In this case, we call it a chemostat. And what does that mean? When your air conditioning at home is turned on because the measurement of temperature in the house shows that it got too hot, and you have set the level of coldness you want in your house, that is a thermostat. When you have too high a temperature, the air conditioner goes on, and when the temperature goes down, the air conditioner is turned back off. In the cell, if you have too much free radicals, you turn on production of antioxidants, and when your free radicals go down, that gets turned back off. So that's what the NRF2 pathway is, and it's pulsatile in physiological sense. That means it goes on and off like a thermostat or a chemostat. You don't want to turn it on all the time. You want to help it work the way it was designed to. And that's what our product, Protandim NRF2, actually does. Invented in 2003. Why was it put together? Put together by a famous free radical biologist who was attempting to increase antioxidant production in the cell. He didn't even know that it was doing this through the NRF2 pathway, but he knew that certain natural herbal products that had been used for thousands of years in Oriental medicine caused increased antioxidants in the cell. So he put together low doses of 5 of these things, like green tea, turmeric, milk thistle, something called ashwagandha, and bacopa. And in low doses, he said to himself, let's have synergy of the 5 products, and when the 5 products work together, we'll have low risk of side effects from production of these herbs. They will cause the antioxidants to go up, but we won't get side effects from like high doses of turmeric or high doses of the other products. And it worked exactly as he thought. And the first study showed that oxidative stress, which is a measure of free radicals causing problems in oxidation in your system, in this case it was fat that was being oxidized, that it was a 40% reduction on average of oxidative stress or imbalance between antioxidants and free radicals in 30 days in all mammals tested. And also, something that is very rarely said about the first study, what really is important is that there were people between the age of 20 and 79. And by the third month of taking one protandim pill a day, it was impossible to tell who the 79-year-olds were and who the 20-year-olds were. So it collapsed down into a function of the 20-year-olds. The 79-year-olds now had enough NRF2 capacity, and it worked as well as the young people. That is huge. Now, we haven't talked about the NRF1 pathway, which is really in its infancy. We talked about NRF2 being found around 1999. It wasn't until 2009 that we knew that actually protandim NRF2 was working through the NRF2 pathway. But the NRF1 pathway was found much later, and it's really in its infancy. But what it does is help with the production, biogenesis, and protection of your mitochondria. That is the part of the cell that gives you your energy. Now think about the fact that it is causing all the free radicals, because that's where all the metabolism is. And therefore, there's a lot more risk of damage to your mitochondria than even to the nucleus of your cell. Then there's another thing that's fascinating. There is separate DNA in the mitochondria from the DNA in the nucleus, and the DNA in the nucleus is protected by the wall of the nucleus, but it's not protected in the mitochondria. So there is more chance of damage to DNA in mitochondria than even in the usual aspect, and the free radicals are right there, and therefore you have to really watch out for mutations and damage from metabolism right where the functioning furnace is. So what we have with our newer product, the NRF1 protandim, is something that has an increased production of mitochondria in cells, particularly muscle and brain, where most of the energy of the body is expended. And that is really important because as you get older, most neurodegenerative diseases are from low energy states and lack of turnover of normal proteins. Now, one thing that mitochondria do that is not often discussed is it's important in turning over and reforming proteins. When proteins get old and don't work well, mitochondria destroy them, brings back the raw materials, builds them up again. A lot of neurodegenerative problems like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's have material collecting in nerve cells that is abnormal, like abnormal waste. Perhaps if we get better mitochondrial function, then we can protect against these things building up. And therefore, very important to have good mitochondria in that way too. Now, I said something about synergy before. LifeVantage is a company that is all about synergy. It's synergy between its products. It's synergy between antioxidants and free radicals. It's synergy between NRF2 and NRF1, because as NRF2 raises antioxidants, it helps protect the function of mitochondria. Because if you make more mitochondria, you will have more free radical production. But if you have more free radical production without a good NRF2 pathway, you're asking for trouble because now you get more oxidative stress. So the synergy between NRF2 and NRF1 is a beautiful thing. The synergy about how the antioxidants work with free radicals and work also to turn on and off genes in your own genome so that you get less inflammation, increased cell physiology working properly, and decrease cell damage is amazing. because it's not just antioxidants. It turns out that it also affects other genes that produce various substances that cause scarring and inflammation. So increased NRF2 functionality will decrease scarring, decrease inflammation, increase antioxidants, and allow you to take NRF1 protein, which increases metabolic function, but now you've got it under control because of the synergy between increased antioxidants and the increase you will then have with producing more energy. So I think it's pretty fascinating. Actually a fabulous, fabulous thing. And if you're interested in your own health and wellness, then you have to take ownership of your life, and that means go out and get the proper nutrition and the proper diet and the proper exercise. But you also have to research things that are on the absolute horizon of great new discoveries for health and wellness. And this is something along those lines. So there really is nothing else out there like RNF1 and RNF2. And I think it's amazing, and I'm glad that I could tell you a little bit about it.
Very good, thank you. Our next presenter is Dr. John Huey, no relation. He's a board certified chiropractor. It's right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Board certified chiropractor and nutritionist from Canada, eh? Originally.
Thank you very much, everyone. Nice to have you all here. Title of tonight's talk is making the most out of what you've got. Okay, not here for me.
He's always like that.
Chiropractor for 26 years and doing nutrition for a dozen years, and I find this information extremely fascinating. I hope you will too. So, biohacking is the key to longevity. We're talking about that tonight, obviously. It's a very, very exciting topic, and I think that's something that we're all to be aware of more after we finish tonight's talk. I never want to be in a position where I'm thinking, it's no longer a question of staying healthy. It's a question of finding a disease I like. I don't want to be in that position, ever. So while discussing about probiotics, that's what I'm talking about tonight. What are they? Microorganisms in the body, obviously. Pro meaning for, bio meaning life. People thought that bacteria are bad for us, thought that they kill us. Well, bacteria can be bad. However, if we didn't have the probiotics inside our gut, we'd be in big trouble. Matter of fact, we would not be able to live if we didn't have these probiotics working for us. So you want to know, tell me more? It's my pleasure to do so. Poor health is rarely bad luck. It's mostly bad gut. Remember that. That's something I've said for a long time. I've stolen this from the this here. Okay. And we don't want to dig our own grave with our spoon and fork, an old English proverb. But that's something that's also true. So what goes on in the gut anyways? There's plenty of processes that happen. Here's an important one. 80% of your immune system, your body's immune system energy, is dedicated to keeping the gut healthy. Why is that? Because it's a battle between us and the outside world. We're essentially like a tube that runs through our body. It's open at both ends, right? And it extends from one end to the other, all right? It does several things that are very, very important. It digests foods, it produces vitamins, it helps detoxify things that otherwise kill us, impacts your mental state. And these are not insignificant things. They're all extremely complicated areas that occur in the gut. So it makes it very, very complicated and interesting part of the human physiology. And what we do today with respect to our nutrition has a big impact on our gut health as well. All right. So biohacking the gut, what does that mean? That means to use all natural products and supplements that allow our body to behave as it did when we were younger. Dr. Luxembourg was talking about taking a supplement that make your cells behave as if they were younger. Not making anything new, but making things you used to do when you were a kid. That's extremely exciting. We can do the same type of thing by helping with our diet as well, and by making sure the proper probiotics. So it's important to know what's in there. We have about 10 to 30 trillion cells inside our bodies, depending on what our red blood cell count is, which is a large number of cells. However, your gut is about the size of a single tennis court. It has no lines on it, right? But it's got about 300 trillion different microbes in there. And until recently, we knew more about the universe than we did about our own GI system. The Human Microbiome Project was done over 5 years, just completed in 2013, and it gave us a lot of information. Now, there'll be a quiz on this afterwards, so I want you to study it very carefully. This happened after the 5-year study, all this information. Again, it's a tremendous amount of information. So for many, many decades, we didn't know a lot about what was going on in our body. And we know now that we have over 25,000 cells, or genes, I should say, in our own genome, much fewer than we thought we had, but 25,000 genes, about 4,000 of which are under the influence of NRF2, which is kind of cool. The microbes inside our gut make up about 3.3 million genes. So we're way outnumbered. Okay, they got us outnumbered both in the number of cells and the gene complements within our cells versus the microbiome, the bacteria in our gut. You hear me see different things with respect to anxiety and behavior disorders, reproduction, immunity, metabolism, appetite. All these things are included, are controlled, I should say, by the gut. So I like to divide things into 3 parts with respect to health, and we'll be touching on those today, where I talked about NRF2 here, NRF1 over here. So the first pillar of health, I like to call it, is making sure they have a good and well-maintained gut. All right? And so what's in there really, really matters. All right? BioHacking for longevity, the first pillar of gastrointestinal nirvana. It takes about 800 days in our childhood, infancy I should say, when the gut kind of matures into what we consider an adult version of that microbiome. After that, it's very, very difficult to change. So the lesson there is you want to start early with diverse foods, good diverse foods. Fermented foods are good, and you want to also start taking probiotics at an early age. I tell my patients they don't realize that when a 1-year-old is exposed to antibiotics the first year of life, they're 4 times more likely to get asthma and then have allergies and other immune system problems that go. And the reason is simply because the gut is affected and the microbiome is affected and it's never corrected. So that's an important thing to remember. We made some past mistakes with respect to microbes and the probiotics. We used to think that everything we gave patients would get into go through the stomach and get into the gut and go and be happy-go-lucky. So we had, and I'm guilty of this as well, we had probiotics that to keep away from light and heat. We'd sing to them, give them a lullaby, all right before they went to the stomach acid, and were totally destroyed by the 1.1 pH that is in our gut. So in retrospect, it's kind of foolish what we did, but that was the information that we had. As I said, back in 2013, they just completed the microbiome project. So now we know a heck of a lot more than we did before. We know that the first step, the lesson here, is to develop a way to have those probiotics survive getting through the stomach acid. It's a jungle in there, and giving probiotics that are live and fragile don't make the cut. Now you may say, how come some people are getting some benefit from those probiotics when they're all being killed? And there's a reason for that, right? They never made it to the stomach acid. But we found out from studies here, for example, that if you gave enough dead bacteria, and this was done not too long ago, they gave patients dead bacteria, and they gave them live fragile bacteria, and they said, well, it had an impact on the immune system. And it's true, because enough dead bacteria, in which case they both end up being dead bacteria, when it hits the gall tissue or Paris patches in your gut, affect the immune system. So the quick lesson there is, you put enough dead bacteria in there, it does stimulate the immune system in a positive way. You decrease inflammatory chemicals, you increase anti-inflammatory chemicals in the gut. So it's been positive. But how about we do this? How about we add bacteria that has an impact on the gall tissue and the Paris patches? And in addition to that, we have a probiotic that actually can grow inside the small intestine and give us a positive effect. How cool would that be? And that's possible.
No, that's not your time.
All right. So what's the best thing we can do to take in addition to eating well and avoiding toxic foods? This is it right here. Right? A very exciting product. I know it's tough to get excited about probiotics, but for some reason I am. And this is one of the flagship products from LifeVantage. And what makes it special is that it contains Wellmune, which is patented to boost immunity. It also contains 6 billion CFUs, colony-forming units, that actually get through the stomach, and it uses a biotrack system to release the bacteria that have survived the stomach acid in the area where they're going to thrive the best. So how clever is that? And that's very, very clever. Nothing else even comes close, in my own opinion. I think that's important to understand. So what's inside of it? We talked about 6 different bacteria. I'll go over this briefly here. Lactobacillus plantarum, clinically used to treat irritable bowel syndrome, makes its own antibiotics. Good probiotics that make antibiotics against bad bacteria is a good thing in the gut. All right. You got Lactobacillus acidophilus, helps reduce cold and flu symptoms, helps to reduce weight. Bifidobacterium lactis increases anti-cancer activities, I think, in the liver, and increases T-cell activities to improve your improve your immune system. The last three here, Lactobacillus casei, inhibits pathological bacteria growth in the gut. I think that's also against H. pylori, the leading cause of ulcer in the gut. Inhibits lung and bladder cancer. These are good things. Lactobacillus rhamnosus helps to treat metabolic endotoxemia, otherwise known as leaky gut syndrome. I like that term better than metabolic endotoxemia. Helps with neural function as well. And then bifidobacteria, a proprietary blend of different bifidobacter that in general help with ulcerative colitis, boost your immune system, and helps to fight infection. So those are the 6 things that are often talked about with respect to what's actually in the probio. No questions on that. So the key here, you want to eat real foods, avoid toxins always. Okay, and this is something I tell my patients all the time. If it comes from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't. Something you should learn. And when you're looking at a label, if you can't pronounce the ingredients, just put it down. So you want to have the best results in taking probiotics, something that we all absolutely need from an early age. As I've shown you before, we established it's important to have good probiotics at an early age. And the best one available right now, in my opinion, is probiotic. So I'm not having any questions yet, but I think I made it under 10 minutes.
Very good. Thank you. Just so y'all know, I'm really being short and sweet with the presenters' bios to really give them the time to be presenting. So next up, we have Annette McPhee. She's going to be talking on the importance of skincare, and she gained her international anesthetician and World Master Beauty Therapy back in 1990 in Scotland, and came to Florida, the United States, in 2004. And her passion is to really just help others who sadly suffer in silence regarding skincare. Thank you, Annette.
Good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. And, well, biohacking healthier skin, that's what I'm going to be speaking about. Because these are really exciting times for skincare. It's a whole new era with the skincare.
Please use the microphone.
We can't hear you.
You can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay, just for a moment, I'd like you to imagine how your life would be different if you could wake up every morning knowing that you don't need to worry about looking and feeling worn out before you start your busy day. Basically, we now have the means to have the, we now have the means with these products to make this possible. Seriously, scientists have discovered how to trigger your body's innate power to normalize and maintain healthy skin. In other words, you now have the ability to trigger your own little factory deep down in the cellular level, simply by regularly using the LifeVantage state-of-the-art skincare products with biotechnology. You are now able to turn back the cellular clock to make you look and feel younger. Before we learn more about NRIA2 activation in skincare, I'd like to take a step back in time for a moment to when I trained as an esthetician many years ago. This was a time when students had to spend hundreds of hours training how to use lots of different devices and electronic equipment powered by low voltage, high frequency, galvanic current. And the purpose of this current was primarily so that whatever product or ingredients being used for specific treatments could firstly facilitate the transport of key ingredients being used for specific treatments. Anyway, we wanted to get the products into the deeper layers of the skin. But even today, students are continually being trained to use devices and electrical equipment specifically to make it possible for products to do what they claim to do. I personally prefer to get to the root of any skin condition from a holistic perspective without using any electrical devices, as they can sometimes cause allergic reactions. There are many myths regarding skincare out there today, and a favourite of mine is being told that by blasting water on your face, it will hydrate your skin. The only way to moisturise your skin is to drink lots of water and use reputable products to keep moisture in your body, thus preventing dehydration. Have you ever heard of any products claiming to add oxygen to the skin? Oxygen is a gas. We can only breathe in oxygen through our lungs. So even if you could capture oxygen up in a jar, as soon as the lid was opened, being a gas, it's going to evaporate. So there's so many myths out there. People telling you products do this, they do that, whatever. You cannot believe anything that's on some of the packets. So your skin is your largest organ, and it is the body's first line of defense to prevent the invasion of bacteria. It is extremely important to be aware of all the cosmetic lotions and potions out there today claiming to create miracles, because they will have you believe in anything as long as you're happy to spend your money. So beware also of skincare products that offer to activate the collagen levels in your skin, because I'm sorry, that is not going to happen either. Collagen molecules are too large to be absorbed through the skin. Collagen is an insoluble, fibrous protein that makes up 1/3 of the protein in the human body. So let the NRF2 activation do the work with your own collagen. That's the only one that's going to work for you. Forget anybody else's cow or chicken or fish. Seriously, it do nothing because it's dead. Taking out to somebody, it's dead, doing nothing. And water cannot penetrate the skin either. If it could, you wouldn't be able to swim. Think about it. Even taking a bath or a shower would cause problems. When you look on the ingredient list of any product, most likely the first ingredient will be water. Bearing in mind, water cannot penetrate the layers of the skin, there is very little chance of any other ingredient reaching the cellular level. NRF2 technology paves the pathway not only to activate collagen and elastin, it also acts as a gentle, deep exfoliant process to keep our skins free from the build-up of bacteria. NRF2 activation also triggers millions of antioxidants to destroy the millions of free radicals that create havoc in our body every day, caused by pollution of toxins in the air, UV rays, and even the food we eat. We now have the technology at hand to turn back the cellular clock and slow down the aging process. Maintaining healthy skin to look and feel younger does not need to be complicated. It's a process that starts on the inside. It takes 4 weeks for the new skin that our body produces to reach the outer layer of the skin before shedding and allowing the new skin to surface. If we do not maintain healthy skin, then we run the risk of clogging the hair follicles and pores of the skin. Unfortunately, when this happens, pimples and pustules and more severe conditions can develop, and inflammation sets in. Inflammation is the underlying root cause of all the conditions, the severe conditions. So get to know your own skin, because using the wrong type of products can also add to the problem of unhealthy skin. It's like a vicious circle. Stress leads to inflammation, which leads to dis-ease, causing more stress, and in some cases, if left unattended, can eventually lead to disease. So, sadly, some of the skincare treatments that people pay hundreds of dollars for in clinics or health spas can also cause inflammation, especially microdermabrasions. and chemical peels, which are used in spas to deeply exfoliate the skin. Many skincare specialists, estheticians, dermatologists, and even plastic surgeons have been known to say that there are no such thing as gentle, deep exfoliation. That is, until now. With the scientific breakthrough of NRF2 technology in biohacking healthy skin, you no longer need to waste money on painful procedures to deeply cleanse your skin. There is 3 primary criteria to biohacking. We want it to be safe, effective, and practical. And LifeVantage skincare products that can be multi-purposeful are also very affordable, whereby you can use them daily in the comfort of your own home. Only LifeVantage products have the groundbreaking capacity to biohacking the aging code to offer healthier skin. Furthermore, you do not need the assistance of any electrical devices to penetrate the skin and deliver the results that LifeVantage products do. We are in the forefront of skincare technology, and in my opinion, we are the future in the skincare industry. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Annette. Our next presenter, I'm a little partial to. Michael Huey, he graduated from the Ohio State University. He's got sites put up. He's got well over 26 years in fitness, training, nutritionist, and here we go.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't think I really need a mic. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I kind of like this at the end. I put husband and friend. Hi, my name's Mike, and I'm your friend. You guys heard that somewhere before, Gene? We've heard that before a couple times. So tonight, I'm going to talk about lifestyle weight management. Okay, and this has been my practice for many, many years. I think a lot of things on the market, what we find nowadays, is that it's a temporary fix. It's the 21-day challenge, the 90-day challenge. And it doesn't compete or go into people's lifestyles. And so what I'm going to talk about tonight is I'm going to talk first about our cleanse, okay? This is a 7-day cleanse that stimulates healthy digestion, supports cleansing of your digestive system. You just heard John talk about how important that is. Manage your weight. How many people have heard the yo-yo effect, right? Where your weight goes up and down and up and down. How many people like that? Okay, so no. Feel lighter, reduce your belly. How many people know that a lot of times we can feel that bloating in our belly after we eat, okay? After we've been on a trip. Okay, after we've been traveling and eating whatever we want on the trip, right? So feel more energized. Safe, gentle, effective 7-day cleanse. I love this. This helps your body slough off the toxins it doesn't need while absorbing the minerals that it does. How many people think that a cleanse might be a good thing, right? Okay, so that's one of our first starts. So then we have our fat burner, okay? We've had so many concepts about fat burners over the years. They've been stimulants. You know, we've had ones over the years where people have taken so many of them, they've had to have heart transplants. So this is a safe, natural, effective fat burner. Okay, you can read. It has one mission: to wake up your body's metabolism with 2 naturally derived fat burners so you can look and feel your absolute best. It's scientifically engineered with Central and Svedol, 2 naturally derived fat burners that stimulate the breakdown of fat, supporting long-term, as you heard me say before, long-term weight management. Increase fat burning by using stubborn fat cells as energy, reduces unwanted body fat, targeting visceral fat. How many people like the fat in their belly? Okay? How many people think that a lot of people maintain most of their weight in their stomach? Okay? It's true, right, Richard? Absolutely. Reduce, like I said, feel more energized. Maintain balanced blood sugar levels, already within a healthy range. A lot of diabetics struggle with this. When you see diabetics, they struggle with visceral fat in their stomach. We were talking about that the other day. So let's go through it. Here's what Central is, and here's a little placebo study that I posted up there that you guys can go back and look at later. All of this stuff is available to you online at lifevantage.com. Okay. So using bioactive polyphenols to support healthy weight management and the breakdown of fat. Central is clinically shown to reduce abdominal fat and reduce unhealthy inches in your waist, okay? I come from a family where everybody in my family struggled with weight in their stomach. So Central is another natural ingredient also. To further investigate the efficacy and safety of Central for the body's weight management and improvement of metabolic distributions and reduction of oxidative stress. You already heard Chad talk about oxidative stress, reducing oxidative stress. We've now added another way to reduce oxidative stress. A second clinical study was performed using Central, and the results show you guys, when you look at these numbers, they're mind-blowing, okay? For abdominal fat, reduction in waist size, hip size. How many women like to hear it when they say they can reduce their hip size, right? I can just tell you that. That's my number one. I run quizzes for women online, and the number one thing they say is lose weight in their hips. Okay, it shows you that it does that. And an increase in FFA release, encouraging liposis, the natural breakdown of fat. And later on, I'm going to show you a study that I did with 80 men just the last 2 months and show you kind of what that benefit was. And then here's Fetol. A natural green coffee bean extract is proven to help reduce weight. Body mass index helps maintain blood sugar levels after meals and target the burning of fat. We don't just lose water weight. How many people can see people that like lose 40 pounds in 1 month or 20 pounds in a week? A lot of that is water weight. This, we don't have to worry about that. Svedol, and you can see some of the reductions, demonstrates the benefits of fat mass reduction. Clinical study demonstrates that Svedol is an effective weight loss solution. You don't lose water or muscle, it makes you lose fat, okay? More fat you have, or more muscle you have, less fat you have. So you want to maintain your muscle growth while you're exercising and losing weight. So our protein shake, okay? It has fast and slow release proteins that satisfy instantly and make you feel fuller longer. So when you drink it, you feel fuller longer. You don't want to eat as much. Increases lean body mass to support effective lifestyle weight management. Many diets before, and I talk about 2 of them at the end a little bit, used to have high levels of protein. Some of the diets that we hear about nowadays are not expressing a lot of high levels of protein. Supports quick recovery and improved muscle synthesis for BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. So for after a workout, okay? Free of GMOs, soys, artificial colors, artificial flavors, and sweeteners. Goes perfect with a ketogenic or paleo diet lifestyle, okay? Those are 2 very prominent diet plans that I teach myself, and they're very prominent on the market. Actually, Dr. Borland did a great teaching this just a couple weeks ago on the ketogenic diet that you can find on YouTube, okay? So Curb, here's another little thing that my wife kind of got excited about, and I see them in my cabinet all the time, and so I did some research on them. They're awesome. Curb is made with Garcinia cabogia. It's a fruit from South Asia, which leaves you feeling fuller longer while improving stamina. Minimizes oxidative stress. Chad, again, oxidative stress. For better overall health, reduces fatigue, and then it says dark chocolate for you people like my wife who like dark chocolate, right? You're welcome, it says. Just add it to Physique protein shake and watch it become great taste. A lot of people like to use it in coffee. They make a chocolate coffee. It stimulates that production of fat reduction. So let me talk a little bit about brain fuel now, okay? How many people struggle with brain issues, with like loss of memory, ADD, ADHD, those type of things? I know a lot of people in the back are laughing, right? But here's some ingredients that I want to talk about. B vitamins, they help support brain function, required for energy. Oh gosh. Okay, I got 3 minutes. Okay. Required for energy metabolism, helps maintain normal cell function, helps promote positive mood, helps keep fatigue, helps you promote healthier energy. Magnesium helps support normal systems functioning and brain health, promotes healthy energy, calms the nervous system and anxiety, treats insomnia, helps you fall asleep, helps with digestion and relieving constipation, relieves muscle aches and spasms. Shown to improve mental function by increasing focus and concentration. This is caffeine. Helps promote alertness, mental clarity, and sense of energy. It's not that crash that we're used to getting from most of the other stuff out on the market. This doesn't do that. And then quercetin, known for antioxidant function, helps boost cellular protection, lowers inflammation, okay? Fights allergies, supports heart health, fights pain, chronic pain, might help improve endurance for athletes. Last 4 ingredients: helps support normal brain and nervous system function, DMAE, helps optimize memory and attention without overstimulation, overstimulating your body, helps promote a state of alertness without the jitters, like I said earlier, helps improve learning performance and mental function. Green tea, we've all been familiar with this. Natural source of caffeine, provides natural energy, reduces total cholesterol, lowers density of lipid proteins, cholesterol, in people with high level of blood fats and poor cholesterol. Monterey pine bark helps support optimal mental performance, may help in conditions relating to poor circulation, high blood pressure, osteoarthritis, diabetes, ADD, female reproductive issues, skin, erectile dysfunction, and eye disease. L-theanine helps promote healthier, sustained energy, again without overstimulation, helps promote a state of alertness without jitters, helps improve learning performance and mental clarity and focus. Wouldn't it be really great if you could have all of that in just one thing? Well, guess what? You can, okay? And so there's some in the back, but I'm gonna drink one here in a minute. So let me finish up with this, 1 minute? Okay, awesome. So let me finish up with this. This is a group of men that I use so that you guys can use. I didn't use women, I've used men. In my group, I do studies, and I took 80 men. 60 guys were taking our products, NRF1, NRF2, Physique, and Axio. 20 guys were not. They were taking their own products. Some of them weren't taking any products. Both groups had a 1900 paleo meal plan, identical exercise program, and 60 milligrams of another biohacking product called phosphatidylserine. The first group were guys using our products, lost anywhere from 17 to 30 pounds, 2 to 4 inches off their waist, 2 to 5 pounds increase in muscle, and 300 to 600 point increase in testosterone. Second group was the people not taking our products, lost 12 to 17 pounds, 1 to 2 inches in their waist, 1 to 3 pounds of muscle gain, and 2 to 400 point increase in testosterone. So overall, the people using our products got 35 to 50% better results, following the basic things that you heard Chad talk about earlier. So if you want more information later on, if you guys want to get with me, I can tell you a little bit more about those studies, but I hope this guy gave you some information on brain health and long-term lifestyle management, weight management. Thank you so much.
Right. Our next presenter is going to be talking about the omega-3s and the importance of them on our health and in our diet. Dr. Jean DeLucia, board-certified family practice medicine since '77, focuses on physical, internal, family medicines, weight loss, and anti-aging, with a primary focus really on prevention, preventative medicine, lifestyle changes leading to less dependency on drugs.
Oh, here again.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here talking about our newest product because I was trained in Western medicine. I'm trained to diagnose disease. We're trained to treat it with drugs. And I can tell you now, any chronic disease we had, we gave them drugs. It wasn't to get rid of the disease. It was strictly to control an endpoint. I got tired of that. So years ago, LifeVantage found me. And so now my patients get a checklist. I give them all a checklist of things that they should be taking for their optimal health. And on that checklist includes Protandim NRF2. It's our flagship product. It works. It includes now Protandim NRF1. It includes our ProBio, which is by far the best probiotic on the market.
Amen.
It also had 2 more products that I had on there that I was sending them to the store to buy. One was omega-3 and one was vitamin D3. Those were the checklists, and those are the things I checked off for people to take for better health, for their optimal health. Now we have that. We have Omega Plus, which has a combination of omega-3 and 7 and vitamin D3. So I'm excited I don't have to send them anywhere else. We have the best products on the market. So let's talk a little bit about omega-3.
Should go. It's supposed to be going. I don't know. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I don't know why it's not doing that. So,
okay. So omega-3 is a
you black out of it, you can not come back. Go ahead.
So omega-3 is a polyunsaturated fatty acid, okay? And years and years ago, the scientists started looking at who was the healthiest, who had the least amount of heart disease in which country, and who had the most. The highest rates, one of the highest rates was this country, because of the bad foods we ate, because of things we cooked our foods in. We had something called trans fat. And trans fat was a combination of a vegetable oil injected with hydrogen, and that made things taste very, very good when you fried them in it. It was called Crisco and margarine. And those were all trans fats. But we discovered as we started cooking our foods in that, and many, many foods had them, we started seeing higher and higher incidence of heart disease. And then they started looking at countries that had the lowest incidence, and those were countries like Norway and Iceland. Those were countries that had the highest levels of omega-3 in their bloodstream. And they found that those were fish-eating countries. And so what they were finding is the people that ate the most cold water fish, cod, pollock, things like that, had the highest omega-3s and the lowest incidence of heart disease. So let's talk about what omega-3s do, okay? Research shows that omega-3s are important in many aspects of health, particularly in supporting brain and heart health. There are many, many studies now. Not getting enough of those powerful nutrients can be problematic, as it can lead to interruptions in optimal health. Now, as a scientist and as a physician, we start to look at PubMed.gov as a repository of millions of studies. And as I want to see evidence, I want to see studies on things. If you put in omega-3 in PubMed.gov, you will find over 25,000 studies in different aspects of health and disease. So that was exciting when I started looking at all those studies, and that's how important it was for us to take. So common signs of insufficiency of not enough omega-3 are things like fatigue, poor memory, things like mood swings, dry skin, we're talking about hydration, and as well as many, many others. They're discovering more and more every day. So omega-3s are essential fatty acids, okay? That means that our body cannot manufacture them. Essential fatty acids are things that we have to take in through our foods, okay? So in this country, we don't eat much fish. That's the highest levels of omega-3s, so we don't get really enough. I don't think anybody in this country is a big enough fish eater to have adequate omega-3. So that's really one of the big things. We have three different essential fatty acids. They are something called EPA, DHA, and ALA. Now, we get a little bit more ALA in this country because we tend to eat more seeds and nuts and leafy vegetables and things like that, vegetable oils. They are more ALA. Omega-3s, though, primarily come from cold water fish. We really don't have that much, at least I don't in my diet. I don't know about everybody else. Most of us get more of that ALA, not enough EPA and DHA from the food. So research shows that we need to supplement to maintain good health. So the reason we take omega-3s, there are many, many reasons. I'll go through a few. One is to provide more energy. One is to construct the cell membrane. It's made partly of those fatty acids. It helps produce more important signaling molecules to the brain and other places. That helps regulate fat metabolism. So talking about that belly fat, and start to increase that good metabolism, start getting rid of some of that. And those are studies that have been published. It starts to help build hormones that start to regulate our blood and our blood vessels. And it's very, very important. They start to see this in heart health and arterial health. And high omega-3s are very, very anti-inflammatory. They help functions like learning and memory because our brain is mostly fat and water. We want to feed that healthy fat with free fat or essential fatty acids. So protects against oxidative stress. There are now studies showing that in combination with raising NRF2, adding omega-3 even is more effective in oxidative stress prevention or reduction. So it helps heart to function normally, and it helps to support eye health. So how much do you need? Well, mainstream organizations recommend that you take between 250 and 500 milligrams of omega-3 every day. Some recommend up to 3,000 milligrams. I think there's a wide range, but I think if you get in that range between 500 and 3,000, I think you're very, very healthy, and that's really what we have. So you cannot get that through diet alone unless you're a big, big fish eater. There are many, many studies. Like I said, there's over 25,000 studies, things like insulin resistance, cardiovascular disease, weight management, inflammation. It's really exciting to see some of the studies out there. And if you do want to look, you can get on PubMed.gov. So there is a very refining process that this company does, because when you buy your omega-3, you've got to realize that not all of them are very purified. And unfortunately, our waters are our sewer systems now, and we dump everything into our water. So that goes into the food you eat out of that water, including PCBs and heavy metals and things like that. A lot of these that they extract the fish oil, they're not purified, and you're getting those things. So you want to make sure through a process that it's very, very pure. And this company has, from boat to the end product, they can trace every bit of that omega-3 and that fish oil where it comes from. So I think that's really, really important. So you want it very pure. And it's also made free of air. So they use an inert gas when they make this, and they keep it cold pressed, because heat and oxygen start to make the omega-3s rancid, start to make them uneffective. So that's a very important process. The other thing that they put into this product was vitamin D3, hugely important. If you get on PubMed.gov and you put in vitamin D3, there are 30,000 studies linking D3 in all aspects of health and disease. I encourage people to look at that. They find more and more diseases from low vitamin D. And I tell my patients, look, we measure your vitamin D as part of our annual physical. One of those things is normal range is usually on most labs 30 to 100. Well, normal, I don't want to be. 30 is low. You want to be optimal. Optimal is around 70 to 80. So you really want to be up to the upper range of normal. That's when we were where we were when we were kids. That's where you want to be your healthiest. So that's really what we look at. So we're looking at it initially for bones, bone health, because it's very important to maintain a high level of D for bone, but now there's so much more. There's so many studies on cancer and heart disease and Alzheimer's, and a lot of other studies on vitamin D3 and keeping those levels the highest. So I encourage people to go and look, but I also encourage people to take this. Omega Plus is by far the finest product I've ever seen. It combines the two things that I recommend that were not on my list before. I'll like that. So, thank you.
Sure about omega-7. The importance of omega-7.
Oh, I'm sorry. And yes, they do add omega-7 in there. So there also is another essential fatty acid. That's a monounsaturated fatty acid. And that's really, they've looked at that for things like, there's not as much research as omega-3, but there is research showing prevention of, I don't want to say that. I want to say supporting healthy heart, blood sugar regulation, those type of things. There are more and more studies coming out. A newer branch of so good? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Jean. And we kind of now transition to the next little segment of this evening with Daniel Bernard. I'm also a little partial to him and his wife, Kathy, were the people that introduced us, my husband and I, to this whole world of nutrigenomics, biohacking, and lifestyle change. And Daniel here is a pastor and a friend and a father, and he can tell you his own bio.
That's great. Man, I'm so excited about all that was being shared today. And, you know, if real simply some of the terminology and so forth confused you or weren't sure maybe exactly what all they were saying, all you know is this, that 7 years ago I started taking the product, okay? And this year we produced a movie and John Schneider played me. So that would give you an idea how good the product is. You know what John Schneider is, you know, Dukes of Hazzard, and, you know, Smallville, Tyler Perry's Have and Have Nots. Well, anyway. If we'd had more money, probably got even something even better looking. But anyway, we got, you know, when you think about all these products today, you know, right? When you hear about it, you're going like, automatically you're thinking, wait, this guy needs, I know somebody who needs that, right? And that's really what we're talking about is from a business side of this. We're just merely talking about who do you know that where you could help them, introduce them to something that you know is all natural, that is the highest of quality, and that you're going to be their friend again more by sharing these products with them. That's really what this business is about, isn't it? Right? And so at the most common level, this is what we want you to be thinking. As you're thinking about this, you know, the thing is that as you share with something, just like you might see a great movie, like The Favorite, just so that you might see a great movie, and you're going to share that movie with them because you know what? You want them to enjoy. You think there's a message in that movie that's going to benefit them. In the same way, that's just the same way about these products, right? And that's really what the business is about. Sharing something you think is beneficial that's going to help their lives. And that's so many people's motivation. And the great thing about that is that you get paid for doing that, right? And how many of you think that's a pretty good deal? When something has helped you and now it's going to help somebody else and you'll get paid for doing that? Like for instance, you know, you might share about Amazon to somebody, but is Amazon going to pay you for telling them about their online platform for selling products? No, right? But here you're going to get paid for just being a friend. Is that a good plan or what?
Absolutely.
Our company is LifeVantage. It's publicly traded on the NASDAQ, which is a pretty big deal. What I mentioned to folks is that when you're into as a network marketing company, it is a company that is only 12 of around 1,500 network marketing companies, and that's a really big deal, right? And so what that tells you is that as LifeVantage said, well, what differentiates you from the other 1,500? That's one of them, because what that means is that we're under really a higher bar, if you will, both in the way of scrutiny of our financials and also what we're telling you as far as the quality of product that we're producing. Even though we're not FDA approved, the FDA does, you know, make sure that we have the quality of the products that we're saying that are there in our products. So what's trending today, if you look upon this, is that 1 in 3 people are pre-diabetic from a health standpoint. $4 billion was spent in 2016 on prescription drugs. And I'm going to tell you that I was in my chiropractor's office and he had a video running telling about how many people died as a result of prescription drugs. I think it was like 106,000 or something crazy. I don't know, some number. Anyway, don't quote me on that. But $15 million spent on energy supplements. Wellness is the fastest growing segment of healthcare. You know, which is, you know, one of the good things is because that means more and more people are starting to take responsibility for their health, right? That's a very good thing. So the economic trends: most U.S. families live and pay paycheck to paycheck. Many have to work past 65 years of age. E-commerce and technology is reducing job availability. People are turning to doorstep product delivery. Okay, which that's a good trend for us because that's what happens here. The great thing about this is that, you know, I have a business in Canada, in the UK, right, in Mexico, and in Thailand, all these different places. And you know, guess what? I don't have to worry about storing any of it in my garage or sending it to anybody. The company takes care of that for us. Isn't that awesome? Right? So, as I mentioned, we're traded on the NASDAQ. We're industry leader. When I say industry leader, not just network marketing, but we're talking about an industry leader in this arena called nutrigenomics of NRF2 technology. You know, there were 600 scientists coming together in London 2 years ago in 2016 just to talk about NRF2 and its possibilities here. That's a pretty big deal. And when you're the leader of that, that's a very big deal. So we are not only leaders in the network marketing industry, but also obviously in this industry called NRF2 technology, the biohacking, you know, which means that your plants and plant life is having the ability to penetrate your cells and bring about the ultimate health desired by, like you said, by changing some of that gene expression. Okay, and so we have some of the best people in the network. We got a good marriage between a great board of directors and a management team, corporate, who are combined a president and vice president, 50 years of experience. And of course, they're giving us all the tools that we need to be successful. I have never done business before, but I can tell you, when we talk about doing the tools, we're talking about a system. One of the things I was, of course, amazed at when I'm going to the UK, and when I'm there, I'm seeing like, well, McDonald's is like on every corner. Well, how did McDonald's get to where it's at today, being its global company, right? Is because it has a system, and you do French fries the McDonald's way, or you don't have a franchise, right? In the same way, we have a system that helps you to be successful in this business. And if you'll follow the system, everyone will have a degree of success. And of course, the company is really committed to ongoing research, to bringing about the best products that we possibly can have through this vehicle of bringing about the ultimate health through cellularly. So we're continuing just to expand that. Now you get those products, and how you become a distributor as a representative for LifeVantage is that you come and get one of our 3 packages. As you can see on the 3 packages, there's a difference in prices. And if you're here watching through Zoom, or if you're here today as a guest, then they can explain the cost of those packages. But basically, the difference is on each one of them is the amount of product that you'll get. If you're going to be a very serious business person, that you're going to want to be on all the products. So that just makes sense, right? If you're going to be that representative, you're going to want to try to be on all the products if that's possible. And I can just let you know the main thing here is that you're going to see in just a second that the risk and the return is unbelievable. And anytime you go into a business, or looking into a business venture, so what's the risk but what could be the return? And this is a tremendous return. I'll just get to that in just a second. But here's one of the things I wasn't in business. I didn't know about network marketing, but I'm finding that as you enroll, or as other people become customers or become distributors, as you share with those people, that the initial commission that you get for doing that is 40%. That's just almost unheard of in network marketing. 40% is what you get, and that's an amazing amount of money that from a company standpoint. As you see, Warren Buffett, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll be working until the day you die. It's nice to know that when you put your head to rest, that there's people who are buying your product in Japan and you're getting paid for it. Would you think that's a good thing?
Pretty good, yeah.
Right, yeah. So that's what we've got. And you can notice too that what this is all about is that even the big corporate organizations, they've come on and they understand it's all about referrals, right? How many times have you said, you're always getting an email saying, if you'll just refer a friend, you're going to get 250 points, you'll get this, you'll get that. Well, that's what everybody's doing. They're going to give you $500 of cash for referring people who will then ultimately pick up their product, whether it's a credit card, whatever. Everybody's into the refer. Everybody's therefore into a form of network marketing. And I say that because, when I first heard about these products, I was just like amazed and like, oh my goodness. And then they told me what the vehicle by which the product was being delivered. And they told me network marketing. I said, how can products like this get into network marketing? Because I had such an adversity towards network marketing, just because the way I've seen it in the past being done. But I found out though that the network marketing to me today is the best business model that's out there. Because what it allows you to actually invest in other people, and by investing in other people and their success, that's the only way that you truly become successful. And that's how it should be done, isn't it? So guys, I'm just really excited about this model and about also that how we're in it from the standpoint of, this is not overcharging, on, in order to make money, we're overcharging on our products. These are one-of-a-kind products. We have the only product on the planet that can lower oxidative stress by an average of 40%, scientifically validated. You know what I'm saying? That we got the one and the only. What do you think that if you were the one and the only? Let's see, LeBron James, he's the best among many, as people think in basketball, right? And so because of that, he gets paid the most, doesn't he? But now, what if you were not only the best among many, but you were the one and only? What kind of price tag do you think you would get for your product? Right? Well, our product, our flagship product, it's $40 a month for a 30-day supply. There was another pharmaceutical that tried to replicate what we have in our Protandim Nerve 2, and it had some effects, but a study from the International Committee for Multiple Sclerosis showed that our product outperformed their product. I mean, way outperformed it, right? You know how much their product costs every month? $4,000. Think about that. Ours is $40,000. Isn't that great? So, guys, you know, when you have those kind of statistics, guess what? Money can be earned. When you have that kind of knowledge and understanding that, wow, we've got the one and only product that can do this without any side effects whatsoever, and it's for everybody on the planet can afford it, that's to get excited. But what that does, that means that if they're breathing, that means, you know, they're a candidate for our products. And that's even your dog and your cat. You know, all mammals have 7 times the oxidative stress level of that of a human being. That's the only product we didn't share with you tonight about Pet Tandem, is that it lowers the oxidative stress in your dog. And so that's pretty cool. So if you got an old dog, you want to make sure this thing, you get them on Pro Tandem, all right? Just go to YouTube, you'll see just unbelievable testimonies. And there's no there's no placebo effect there, guys, all right? Dogs don't lie. What I really like to mention too, I love this is the earnings claim statement. Remember I told you that we're guided by the Security Exchange Commission, that before we can share these numbers with you, so we can't hype you up. These numbers have passed through and have been okayed by the Security Exchange Commission, that we can share with you what people are actually earning. Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Right? So these are people like myself who've never done network marketing before, and you know, and you can see what we go from distributor to now pro executive master Pro 10. But you can see if you look at that middle row, the monthly average income, that's what's important. And as you notice here, like someone who's a Pro 3, now these are places or positions where understand that are still taking place where people are just doing it part-time, right? And you're looking at Pro 4 is almost $1,200. Pro 5 is $2,500. Now that's replaceable income, isn't it? And then think that you're going to be able to do this on your time. You determine, you know, the part-time. You know, you see what I'm saying? That's really exciting. And then as you share this with other friends and family members, and they would like to be a part of that, then it continues to grow. Pro 6, and then we hit the elite ranks of Pro 7. You'll see there $11,000 a month. So now you're getting well into 6 figures, right? And you have Pro 8, 22, $23,000. That's pretty good money, right?
Very good.
Right, that's real good money.
Very good.
So that's and you can see from there on. And now what's amazing again is that when we started 7 years ago, we didn't have 3 packages. We had 1 package, and that package was around $650 or so, right? So that was my investment. I went to the very top. That was the highest one you could get. That's what we went into, got that. But imagine this, that as you saw that number, $650. My investment was $650, and then as a Pro 8, you know, you're making $250,000 a year. Is that a pretty good a transaction there, right? You put in 650 and you get back 250,000. Does that work for you guys?
Yeah.
Right? Would it work for you if you put in 650 and you got back 2,200 a month? Would that work?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right? So, you know, like I said, you minimize risk, maximize reward. Here it is. You know, in fact, you get in there and you do the, you just become a distributor. You already have all these tax advantages from day one. You know, you're already in the black because you're going to have enough tax advantages you're going to take off to more than pay for you getting into the business. Very exciting. Now, just think about how big this is. Google's Calico aims to fight aging and solve death. Now, that's a little bit prideful. What do you think? Solving death, you know, right? But the idea is, forget about what I get from this is that how everybody's looking for a cure, right? How can we slow down the aging process? And by the way, of the 23 peer-reviewed studies regarding our flagship product, Protandem, a 5-year study was done by the National Institute of Aging. Here you go. The National Institute of Aging. Again, this is not LifeVantage doing the study. This is the National Institute of Aging, a 5-year study taking all kinds of various products that said or believed that they had anti-aging properties and putting all them under this 5-year test, which you can imagine the money that took, right? After the 5-year test, our product is the one that came out was saying that it could actually the only one that could indicate that it can actually extend life. 7% in males and 3% in females. Is that amazing or what?
Fantastic.
Is that crazy? There you go. So, isn't that, how many products do you know out there you can say, listen, it's been validated by a 5-year independent test by the National Institute of Aging. If that doesn't get you excited, if that doesn't make you get out there and run with this thing, nothing will. Okay, that means we got something way better. Catch the wave. You're hearing this term nutrigenomics, all right? And they said, well, what is that? Well, it's where the plant life is intersecting with your cellular cells and bringing about optimum health. I mean, to say it simply, because obviously all these guys up here, they were doctors. I'm not a doctor, right? But to just say it plainly, that's what it does for you, okay? And you can be on the wave, right? As everybody knows that when you're getting on the wave, you got to get ahead of the wave if you're really gonna ride it. And so right now, guys, that's where we're at. We're on the front of that wave for not only nutrigenomics, NERV2 activation, but bringing these kind of products to the public and to the globe, and you can be a part of that. And so want to just share that with you tonight. If today that you feel like there's something where you can, this might be an opportunity for you. I did 7 years ago. Just real quickly, is that 7 years ago when I saw this, I said, wow, if this is real, could be a real game changer. I didn't understand it all, but I knew that if it could do what it says it does, that this could be a real game changer. And for the first time, we thought that maybe this would be a way for us to actually have our own income and not have to take an income from our nonprofit organization. And so in 13 months, we were able to stop taking an income from our nonprofit, and we're able to give back our salaries. Both my wife and I were able to give back our salaries to our nonprofit because of this company and these products. And there was only, at that time, there was only two of what you all are for today. So isn't that exciting?
Yes.
So we're committed to helping you do that very same thing. So again, I want to thank you tonight. What we're going to do right now is that we're going to switch over and we're going to bring these guys up, and we're going to have a real quick Q&A, and then we're going to have, I want everybody to stay. We're going to bring all of our doctors up and our personal trainer so that you guys can ask some questions, and then we're going to do a little bit of drawing at the end. So,
does anybody else have questions that I didn't get a chance to collect? All right. Well, these guys all come up front. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
is
you.
it your question?
No, there's no bitch.
Slide this over.
No, it's just
You guys want to come on over? Since we're not going to be.
have the person who answers the question.
Front and center.
There we go. You can actually shut her off now. Okay, there we go.
Don't take a bug shot.
You got my doctor here.
Sorry. I want to apologize for some of that technical difficulty earlier with the slides. They're Dr. Jean, so. Yeah, there you are. So anyways, all right, so these questions, I have not had a chance to really screen them, but I know, right? I'm reading them now. And all right, we really can't address specific disease type of questions. So, ProBio. The question is taking one a day or after a meal. So, who talked about gut health? The way our probiotics.
The ProBio should be taken 3 tablets as a serving size, all at the same time. Remember I mentioned that if you take enough bacterial probiotics, even if they're dead, they'll have an impact. You want to take these that will get through your stomach acid and live all at the same time to have an impact on the immune system as well. So I take mine in the morning just so I don't forget, So you take all 3 little tablets at the same time.
John, with food or?
With the yeah,
And
you
it
take
doesn't
food.
depend on the body size. Like my wife's smaller than me.
Serving size for average adult is 3 tablets, and you take them with food or without. It's safe to take them without as well.
Go ahead.
This is a question directed to Dr. Jean regarding how Alaskan fresh sockeye salmon and its omega-3.
Actually, they've done studies. The highest levels of omega-3 are the cold water fish. Cod was the highest. Pollock, which is actually a subspecies of cod, was the second highest. Salmon is good, but not quite as high as the others. So, but if you eat a lot of any of those fish, they're good for you. So.
All right, next question is regarding absorption and bioavailability. How bioavailable is Protandim? Is it fat soluble? And kind of expanding to the product line.
Barbara, you
I don't know about fat solubility. I know that it's best to take Protandim with a fatty meal. It's good to take it with food, and it's been recommended to me to take it with breakfast. We have a cardiologist in the company, Dr. Mark Gordon, and he has said that it is best to do your Protandim NRF2 in the morning because the most oxidative stress in most people's lives is earlier in the day. And you have a 2-hour to 3-hour pulsatile activation of NRF2. So he recommends with breakfast with a fatty meal. My understanding is it's very absorbable. I don't know any special, necessities for any special way of doing other than that. Two shoes. What's that? Two shoes. Two. But people buy them.
Here. This question is regarding margarines, Crisco that was mentioned, about fake acids and butters. Can you please elaborate?
That would be me. They're all bad for you.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. At one time, the Crisco that we used to have had trans fat. Fortunately, the United States has banned trans fat because even they, as slow as they are, caught on to the fact that it was very inflammatory and very damaging. So the margarines we have now and the Crisco we have now are not trans fat. What was the whole question?
I think you got it.
Talk about healthy
So,
fats. What are
healthy fats, obviously. To me, the healthiest fat are things like avocado, olive oil. Those type of things are healthy fats. I personally am not a big meat eater. If you do eat meat, you should be eating grass-fed, not grain-fed meats. That really certainly makes a difference. Wild caught fish, not farm-raised fish. Those type of things are healthier for everyone. Those that don't, they've done studies. The longest living people are basically plant eaters. So think about that. Anyway.
This question is regarding kids in general and whether or not they can take any of the products. So,
Yeah, there's
Because you got your
you've got your experience.
with respect to probiotics, absolutely, I think they should be on it at an early age. The other products, if you have a child that can swallow a tablet, their NRF2 levels are a lot better than adults, so that may not be necessary. My own personal experience with my son is that I put him on. He had some health issues and had some chemotherapy as an infant, so I put him on as soon as I found out about this when he was still, I believe, 10 years of age. So I had a reason for that. So in different circumstances, at that time he was taking half a tablet, now he takes 1 tablet, so an adult dose. But there's no contraindication for young adults taking this or for kids with special needs taking this either. Any other products, fish oil, there's no contraindication for taking fish oil for an age. And the weight loss products, that's not an issue for kids for most kids. Well, that's changing too.
That's changing, yeah.
Unfortunately. But
the reason they put that, I know what this question is being directed to. Okay. On the Axio, it says, that's a good question. On the Axio, it says to be careful giving it to children. Okay. a lot of the studies, and I just read some stuff today that Dr. Chevreau and I were talking about last week, is that they're using in some of the caffeinated one in kids with autism and ADD and ADHD and autism. It's a regulatory thing that they put on there for you to caution, just like if you're pregnant. You ask your doctor, if it's okay to take it. But yes, they a lot of the kids used to, if you guys, and Gene probably knows about this, they used to use Ritalin for kids with ADHD, and it's like, and they still do, but it's like a caffeine rush. So that's why they always put that disclaimer on there. So yes, that's a good question.
Dr. Chad, have you actually written a book or paper with the material? That's a pretty high compliment, in my opinion.
Guess what
Yeah.
you're gonna be doing.
No,
Regarding what you
I
said.
have not written a book, but I do Sunday night calls for about 20 minutes, 8:30, and I talk about all these different
How many?
things.
72.
We're up to 74.
Tell them when it is, and
Oh, it's called You Gotta Believe, and that's my theory about LifeVantage and life itself is belief and faith. But we talk about different issues. I review articles. Last week I talked about omega-7 because someone online had asked Brandon Cunningham, why do you need omega-7 as well as omega-3? And I saw that, and Brandon kind of tagged me, and I said I would review omega-7. I got some articles from Dr. Chevreau, and I found out that omega-7 decreases the incidence of diabetes, increases the sensitivity to insulin, and decreases the size of fatty acids, so that it's not only important to have low density particles, it's the lower density the better, and it makes lower density particles. So omega-7 is really exciting, and without me researching it to do my calls, I might not have known about that. So it's really me that's learning and then passing that along. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday nights.
There you go.
it's like football.
Again, as you know, we cannot address specific disease processes or things like that. So I'm kind of rewording these questions to be compliant, and this one I'm going to answer myself. It's it's regarding potential interactions between drugs and the nutraceuticals that LifeVantage produces, and off the FAQ sheet that LifeVantage puts out, there are no known contraindications between any prescription drug or our Nerve2 products, or any of the products for that matter. And they actually specified no interactions with Coumadin or pacemakers, because those are big things that people seem to really think about, because green tea, as you saw, was one of the ingredients, and people who are on Coumadin are told not to be taking green tea. It may alter its efficacy. But because of the synergistic effect with the all the ingredients within our Nerve2 activator, it's such a minimal dose that it's actually really, they're all really sub-therapeutic. If you were to go to GNC or someplace to pick up a bottle of green tea supplements, that dose in that bottle is much greater, okay? And to answer, yes, you'll be able to see this. We are recording it live. And it will be posted on YouTube, and my husband will be putting the links out on the social media, of course. Any other questions that are not specifically disease process related or even business questions? And first.
The grapefruit axio, I get questions from people that say they ask if they can drink grapefruit axio. I've heard Dr. Chevreau say they can because it's a different part of the grapefruit that doesn't contradict some heart medications that say you can't.
Sure.
What is it, blood thinners? Chad, do you
Okay.
know?
Okay. It's grapefruit flavor. It's not grapefruit. Okay. And it has none of the aspect of grapefruit which is bad to take, which I think anti-fat drugs, maybe Lipitor group, yeah, statins, right? So there's no problem taking it with statins. But there might be problem with taking statins.
And one more question?
Yeah, water soluble versus fat
Fat
soluble.
soluble.
I understand most of them are water soluble, and I also understand that different people absorb at a different rate depending on what their body already has. And then the water, if it's water soluble, it throws off what it doesn't need. Is that correct?
Gino, you better- Lisa.
Yeah. As far as NRF2 is fat soluble, so that's why we do recommend you take that with a meal. As far as, I'm not sure what you mean by throwing off what we don't.
Well, okay, well, let's just pick vitamin C just as a throw one out there, being water soluble. If you've already got a high content of vitamin C or vitamin D,
exactly,
then it's going to throw off what your body's only going to absorb what it needs, and then it's going to.
Depends on if you excrete it through the kidney or the liver. And what you're saying is if you take too much vitamin C, it doesn't matter because it'll just come out real quick. But fat-soluble vitamins
No, I understand it retains.
more dangerous because they're stored in the liver.
But I'm just saying on the water, because I think the bacopa is the only one in the protanum that's actually fat soluble, I believe. Or maybe that one's not fat soluble.
I'd just like to make one comment about looking at the ingredients of either NRF2 or NRF1 for their individual qualities. In each case, you have a new compound. And I don't look at it the way other people sometimes say, well, milk thistle's good for your liver and milk thistle's in it. As we just heard, the concentration levels of these things are not at a level where independently they'd have any effect on the body. So I don't look at protanum as a combination of those five. I look at it as protanum. I think it's a very different concept. And they did the same thing when they made NRF1 protanum, learning from the experience of Dr. McCord. When he put together NRF2 protanum, Dr. Chevreau put together NRF1 protanum as 5 different herbs synergistically having the effect with very low doses of any of them, thereby having very little chance of a side effect. For example, you cannot rely on the CoQ10 as CoQ10 in NRF1, but you can rely on NRF1 protanum to really do a great job for mitochondria. So it's like a separate substance only, unless it's an allergic thing. When you want to look at it separately, it would only be as an allergic problem, in my opinion.
Very good. All right. Any questions business related?
No, it's not business. One question.
Yep. We're going to move.
I may have been to the bathroom when you read mine. On the probiotics, you take it after every meal or just once a day?
The dosage is 3 tablets, 1 time a day.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Next part, we're wrapping things up. Thank you, everybody, so much. It's been amazing. Any last comments from our presenters? Okay.
I take one.
Daniel's going to give some stuff away.
We got that raffle. Pull out your raffle tickets.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody who's here on Zoom. I want to thank you very much for being and on and so forth. Hope you take this and share it with your friends. Okay. All right, guys. Now, okay, we're going to give away some hand lotion. Is that what it is?